Well, hello everyone. I hope you had a fantastic Earth Day. I did. I planted a few things in the garden. I tended my peach trees. I planted a few more apple trees. I spent it the way I believed I should, and I had a lot of fun. And I'm really getting in the mood for spring, which brings us to the soap that you see here today. Well, or at least the colors you see here today. This has been inspired by a video by another soap maker, Ariane Arsenault. And I'm probably butchering her name, but I will put a link in the description with a link to her site because I think she's just fantastic and such a great artist. And I would never dream that I could make anything as nice as what she's done, but she did inspire me. Anyway, what you see before you here is I have taken up my soap and I've divided it up amongst 5 different containers and colored each of them. The 5 containers in front of that are the lye, which I've divided up in 5 ways. I'm going to mix the lye into one color at a time and put it into my mold and allow it to set up before I start the next, rather than adding the lye to all of it at once and then taking a chance of it getting thick and me not having nice even stripes. Now, I will tell you, while I wouldn't consider this video necessarily a fail, I would not call it a booming success, because actually what I did is I got my soap a bit too thick, and so my lines aren't as crisp and straight as Ariane's or several other people have done there. So this is my first try doing a stripe in mold like this, and so bear with me. I think it's going to be successful. I've used 5 colors here, all from Nurture Soap, and I'll also list those in the description. So because I think they're just great colors, I really like them, and I think they just scream spring to me anyway. The green of the grass, the blue of the sky, the lavender, which this is scented with the lavender and sage, which is also, I believe, represented the colors a bit too. And it just says life to me. So I hope that you'll enjoy this. If you do have any questions about this, feel free to ask. If you have any suggestions, you can even insult me. If you don't like what I'm doing, tell me that. Maybe I'm going in the wrong direction here. Maybe this isn't something I should be doing. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. But I know this has not been a very popular channel. It's very new, but perhaps I'm not everyone's tea. I'm not even sure sometimes that I'm my own, but I'm doing my best here, and I'm having a lot of fun. I love making soap, and being able to share this with you is just, I hope that you get some joy out of this too. Maybe you'll learn something, even if it, as I've stated in other videos, even if it's from my own errors. Now, I have added fragrance into each of these colors as well. Just to be clear on that, there is lavender, essential oil in all 5 of these, and with the micas, and that's all. And all that's in these are the oils. There is coconut oil, olive oil, castor oil, and I said coconut oil. Oh, and shortening, Crisco shortening, and that was just to make it a harder soap. And it's a vegetable shortening, by the way. So here I'm taking the first color. I'm going to screen out the lye here because I did see something floating in there and just want to catch that so it doesn't go into the soap. I want that to be a nice smooth layer. And once I've got all of the lye in there, I'll take the stick to this, and this is the error that I made. Not putting the stick to it perhaps, but I did it too long. And so it got a little too much trace to it, and so it wasn't as smooth in the mold as I believe it should have been. And I think I partially realized that at the time, but it was like, well, go ahead with it. You've got to make this work. But I could see right there where it's blending up the final bit of color from the bottom there, that it was getting really, I mean, that's a pretty heavy trace already. So you'll see as I'm pouring it into the mold here that it's thicker, so it's not as fluid, not flowing as quickly as I had hoped it would. This is a new mold. It's my first loaf mold. I got 3 of these from Amazon, and I think I'm going to like it. This is the first time I've used it, but it worked very well. So I realized that I would need, I wanted to make 2 loaves of this, and already I realized one problem. You see how thick it's already getting? But I also realized that I should have measured out the color between the two. So I should have had, for instance, I think there's 16 ounces in here, so I should have had 2 containers with 8 ounces. That way there would be exactly the same amount in both of them, because I'm just eyeing it from here. But as you see, I'm having to smooth it out. It's not as fluid as it should have been. I got it too thick. So right there at the beginning, I had a mistake. I had a problem. So just for your own information, if you do these, make sure that you do make it very fluid. So don't just bring it to a very light trace. The next error I made was not wiping down the sides well. You'll see that there's some of that red up there on the mold. I should have wiped that away so that when the green goes in, it doesn't have that red on the side of it. Obviously, I'm able to take a shaver and clean it up, but why not wipe yourself that extra work? Just wipe down the side. But this is one disadvantage to not having a large monitor on my camera, which I'm going to add so that I can actually see what you see when I'm doing this. Because if I had looked up at the monitor and seen that, I would have grabbed a towel immediately and cleaned that. Now you do keep in mind, I do come back later and wipe up the soap that's there on the tabletop. So again, you'll see how thick this green is, and why it didn't occur to me at this point, hey, maybe you're mixing it too much. But with the color and the fragrance in there, I simply should have not blended it so much, and so it wouldn't be so thick. See, it looks pretty fluid there, but it's getting thicker and thicker as I pour. That's why it's not spreading out easily on the bottom. It's kind of clumping there. So lesson learned, and there's no need in spending a lot of time, on this area. I'll skip through to the next colors here. With this color, it did go on a little better. This was much more fluid, and I didn't have the same kind of problems that I had with the red and the green. So I was pleased with that. Again, look at the mess. And I promise you, this is a promise from me to you. I will get a monitor. I have a monitor, actually. All I have to do is plug it in and mount it behind where I work there. Now here what I'm doing is I am cleaning down the sides. It occurred to me a little late, right? Hey, you need to clean these sides so that the soap doesn't get it on it when you pour in the next layer. It's also about this time I'm realizing, wow, I've got 2 more colors to add, and there's just like an inch left. And that was, I wasn't sure how I was going to deal with that. But so I just decided I'll just go for it. And that's exactly what I do here. I move on to the next color. And I figure, well, I'll deal with that last color when I get to it. I really liked. And again, it's pretty thick. Yes, it's flowing here, but it's still a little thicker than I would have liked. But this is a great learning experience. But again, here's where I'm realizing, wow, I still have another whole color, and how am I going to get it in here? So this was just a miscalculation. I forgot when I was calculating how much of a formula to make up to fit in these 2 molds. I just counted the oil and forgot to count in the weight of the water and lye. So I ended up with too much. Now I do find a way to deal with that at the end here. It's not the most elegant, but I do deal with it. So I'm going to pound these down a bit here. The last color, and I had too much. This, I obviously knew this was going to be a rather thin stripe because, well, it was going to overflow the mold if I filled it. And so I'm only able to use about half of what's in this container here to top these two off. And so what I thought I would do is, okay, I'll take what's left here and I'll change the color a bit. I'll add some titanium dioxide to it. And I tried several different things. I added peppermint leaf. I added even some activated carbon to it, just trying to find a different color that would work for the top with that purple or that dark pink that was already created. And I played with it. I tried to pipe it. It was too thin. I kept trying to thicken it. I added kaolin clay to it to thicken it up. I just couldn't get it to do what I wanted. So finally, I just let it just sit, get thick, and then you'll see here, I just put it on top. I textured it a little bit with a spoon. There it is. And this is the top. This isn't the color I wanted. This is the color I ended up with. And I wasn't very happy with it. I'm just being honest with you. This isn't what I wanted. It's just what I ended up with. We're cleaning up, or basically I'm rearranging the furniture on the Titanic here. I think, oh, well, I'll clean it up a bit and then it'll look better. But that top is just, I don't know, it reminds me of cellulite. I'm just being honest with you. I just wasn't happy with this color, the way it came out, or the texture, because it's just not thick enough, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get it any thicker. So I thought, well, what do you do when something you don't like the way it looks? Cover it with something else. So I went in search of some toppings for it at this stage. What can you add? Poppy seeds. Why not? I thought it can't hurt, right? And to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the way this looks at this stage. I just couldn't quite figure out what to do with it. And I think this has probably happened to all of us. We've ended up with something on occasion, thought, where do I go from here? This was that moment. So what do I do now? I go in search of, yep, that's right. I was going to add the Himalayan sea salt, and then I thought, no, that's too large, and I don't want to try to hammer it down now. So I thought, glitter. and I do have some bio glitter that I am not happy with. I wish I had not. Excuse me, I wish I hadn't. I got it for another project, and I just wasn't happy with it. It wasn't a good color, but I thought, maybe adding a little sparkle to this couldn't possibly hurt. So that's the next step I take here, is to glitter it up. So here it is. This is the poppy seeds, a little bit of glitter. And the glitter is just not very showy, as you can see there. But I decide, you know what? I have had soaps that I've made where I wasn't really 100% behind them. And sometimes they turn out pretty great, right? So, hey, what do I have to lose? So I covered these up. I put them in a cardboard box. I put towels over it and hope for the best. Sometimes a good gel phase can do miracles. Will let you know now that no miracles occurred, but it's better than I had hoped it would be, and not as great as I had really wanted it to be. So here you'll see I've already cut one loaf over here on the left, and this is the problem. See, because they didn't set properly. Now this, if I shave down this side, that stripe will be a little better. That's from a smear on the side. That much I do know from looking at the other side. But still, these just weren't as smooth as I'd wanted them to be, and that's my fault. I didn't let it, I should have had a much more fluid soap to begin with, and then let it fully set before I did the next color. So the mistakes made here are my own. I fully own it. But they are stripes. You can tell they're stripes. They may not be even stripes, but they're stripes. So this is the other one. So I just thought I would cut this one for you. This is a brand new, I just got this cutter and I'm loving it. I've seen other people use these and just been so pleased at how great they seem to work. So I wanted one of my own. So I finally splurged and got a soap cutter of this type. And I'm so pleased. Although I will say, I was surprised the wire does seem to leave these lines that go down the side. I did notice it on all of them, and I wiped the wire off in between the cuts, but still, I did see some drag marks that I was a little nonplussed by. But maybe if, it could be that what I think may have happened, maybe some of the ingredients on top, the glitter or the poppy seeds, might have got pulled down by the blade and did some scraping. But overall, they look pretty decent. The colors didn't stay completely true, but it's not bad. It is what it is, I think people say sometimes. But it's a good lesson. I've certainly learned how to do this properly. From messing it up, I've learned how to do it right. And I know exactly going forward how I will do this. So watching this again and remembering the disappointment I felt when I did it is a good lesson learned. But still, not too shabby. I'll be happy to use them myself. And I'll give these away. They make great gifts. And hey, if you want one, if you'd like one of these, I'll send it to you. Just let me know. If you'll just pay the shipping, and the shipping on something like this is about $3.50. I think that's about right through the post office. You can look it up yourself. These weigh about 6 ounces, 6 to 7 ounces, probably a little closer to 6 once they fully cure. And I'll give them away. Just have to pay the shipping. But if you're interested, just let me know. They smell great, by the way. That lavender and sage, a little bit of peppermint in the top. Like I said, in that top batter, I used a little bit of peppermint leaf that I had, dried peppermint leaf. And so that has just a mild smell on top of peppermint, which is such a nice complement to the lavender and sage smell. Scent. I've got to remember to say scent, not smell. I sound like I'm talking about ones in arms. I apologize. So that's it, folks. Again, thank you all. I'm going to keep working, keep improving, and you can watch me grow along the way. So thank you and have a fantastic day. Goodbye.